Hi, I'd like to start the show with a song that's being offered by Dwayne Hepner, Dwayne the Great Writer. And it goes, New You. It's being offered for people to test for themselves by singing it for like 15 minutes before they go to sleep each night, and for maybe 15 minutes when they get up in the morning, and see what life shows them in their dream visions or while they're in this supposedly awakened state in the physical, about getting this opportunity to have some real guidance and a real education to find out things we don't know about. This is about what life's all about and why we came here, to remind us of what our real purpose is. The new presentation has New Adventure Is series books wrote by Dwayne, the great writer, available in the paperback and the hardback through lulu.com. And there's PDF books on this modern tech. You can get in touch with Kelsey Lynn Brown on Facebook or YouTube, or just look up wonderfulworldwideeducators.com or the new presentation or Dwayne the Great Writer to check it out and find out for yourself if it's something that seems to make sense to you. If it's pure, and if it's humble, and if it's grateful, and if it's sincere. What are really things that are important in life? There are projects in the process of being brought into the physical, like the rainforests to create in Baja, about people getting together and trying to be an example for the rest of the humans, to try to show that we don't have to have authorities and brutalitarians controlling us here in this human farming prison planet, in these psych realms, the physical, the astral, the causal, the mental, the etheric. So the new presentation is being given with hints how we can earn our way out of these psych realms into the real universes where there are no brutalitarians or authoritarians, and where a person is free, real freedom, where there's real love, not just this emotional stuff we call love here in the physical. The new presentation has multiple projects that are trying to be brought here into the physical. The All-Solar Research Vessel will have the Nations United Universal University on it, and many examples of making clean water and cleaning the oceans and providing for others, being helpful and useful and sharing, how to have their physical shelter and wholesome foods and water and things that we need in this place while we're here. But pretty much the opportunity to not have to come back into this psych realm stuff anymore, to have enough experiences that we've learned and been accepted into this place called the real universes. We need real guidance and a real education. And there's real guides available like Reba's Tars and Yabel Sakabi and Phoebe Kwans and Paul Twitchell and Shamasi Tabriz and Gopal Das and Katadaki and Baisi and Tawart Manaji and Rami Nuri and Dwayne Hepner, that without this real guidance and real education, it looks like people are going to have to reincarnate back into this physical realm in these psych realms, and where the water's going to be filthier, and the air is going to be filthier, and the food's going to be filthier. In fact, it looks pretty bad to have to come back into a world where we're going to be influenced so much by this modern technology of mind control and trying to, the authoritarians, the brutalitarians, or reptilians, whatever you want to call them, control people more than ever, and just use us as slaves for their purposes and their food supplies. And so it's just an attempt to share this new presentation with others that the real guides know who's ready and who gets to hear certain words that they can check out for themselves and see if they want to become involved in the new presentation and have a real purpose in life. Today we have some other guests. We have Dean Val of Nations United University, and Claudia Stockman, who's an empath, a seer, and Sandy Saline, that's also an empath and a seer, and we may have Ariana and others. So I'll give everybody an opportunity to say something about this new presentation or the projects. Would anybody like to start?
Yes, hi, this is Dean Val from Huntington Beach. Claudia and Sandy aren't here yet. They've been occupied, but I will say a few words, yes. In terms of like sharing this new presentation, I was in a corporation or spiritual path before this, and in the early days we had called it the Old West, where we could just go out. We could just go out and pretty much set up an intro talk at a library or stand on the street corner and, with a sign, and just share what we knew of the spiritual path I was in. And then it got kind of funny as the years went by. There's more and more restrictions and guidelines about how to do this. You actually had to check in with the local leader, and then he or she had to check in with the RISA or the regional leader, and they had to check in with the state leader, and then the state leader had to check in with the main office. I mean, it could go to 4 checks for approvals before you got to get to the do an intro talk at the library. So it got really restricted. That was kind of funny. And Yeah, in the meantime, when I found this, I left that spiritual path, and now I'm here with a new presentation. And there are no restrictions in terms of like how we share this, because it's not a path, it's not a teaching. So how can there be restrictions, because it's not any of those things? And what they were trying to do was keep the teachings pure. That was their rationale. They didn't want to dilute it with any kind of funny business. So that's why they set up the guidelines and restrictions. But this new presentation is not a spiritual path or a teaching. So how we present it is how creative we can be and clever, and what we can come up to that relates to what the people can understand, because it's not anything like what they've been accustomed to. So it has to be done in a certain way, but it doesn't have to be done in a certain way. But, it gets just done in a way that makes sense to the people, and that's up to us how we want to do it. Now, there are some, we make sense of things. We're not exactly totally free for all with this, but we want to be considerate to others and, not get ourselves in trouble, because like you say, this place is a prison planet, and there are people out there to take you to prison. So it's a matter of like making sense of what we have to work with and the people's consciousness and what they can handle and relate to. So we're doing the best we can. I was just looking at one of our friends in England, and he's got a bread sign on with the new UU and some other text on there, and walking around the streets in a pigeon, like you said, Tim, pigeon outfit. So, and I've done that. We've done that too. We've dressed up and done skits and talked to people and done funny things, basically to get people's attention. We don't have an agenda or anything. We just have fun getting people's attention, being creative with it, and then seeing if anybody out there is willing to take the risk to step out of their box, their matrix, self-created box they've created for themselves with their agreements, and into a life of adventure. And that's pretty much what we do. We're just presenting this material. We can only do that. We can't get people to see it. It's up to them to take the step to see it for themselves. And I know it's a challenge for most people. There's not very many of us, and there's not many people that see this. So it is really a challenge, but it's doable. It really is doable, because this is our survival, and it's our life, and it makes a huge difference whether you get to go on and reincarnate again and come back and try it all over again, or you get to make sense of your life and go further than what you think you know, and further than you've ever gone before. It just gets so real that that's just the way it is. It's like you got to stay the same, or you got to wake up. Basically, it comes down to that. That's the bottom line. You got to stay the same, or you got to wake up. Staying the same could mean more reincarnations, more body types, more experiences. That's what I'm saying when I say that. But it's still the same thing. You're in creation. You're dealing with the 5 bodies and all the emotional, mental stuff that you collected through all your incarnations. And the more lifetimes you have, the more you've collected. So it's more to deal with in a way. until you come to that point where you get tired of it and just throw up your hands and look in the sky and say, okay, there's got to be something more here. And then maybe if real guides are around, they'll give you the opportunity to see more, because you really can't get out of the matrix without their guidance. It's just that I've looked at this, and it just the way this process works, without guidance, you can't even accidentally get out, or purposely, or consciously. No one can get you out of here or make you see no savior or teacher, no spiritual path or religion, no Buddha, no middle path, anything like that. It just doesn't relate to what we're presenting. So you really need some guidance to move out of yourself and to move out of this matrix, which is very, very difficult. I mean, it's set up more so than any, high security prison here on Earth. It's just totally, and you're watched all the time, and you're watched through all the levels too. God sees you, and he wants to keep you here, so he has all his minions working, and it's a big process getting out of here. So that's where the real guides come in, and they've gone through what we've gone through. That's the thing. And they're more so than the angels and saints and saviors, you could say. If you want to ask yourself, most people don't, but if you ask yourself, well, what's beyond a savior or God? Well, the real guides have taken that step and gone beyond those ideas. And they're the true and real explorers. So they're the ones that know the way out, and they're the ones that can help us by giving us pointing the way. Again, it's references, demonstrations, hints. So it's not like we've been used to. It's not a doctrine. It's not a teaching. They can only just give you hints, basically, and good references. Something that relates. Good reference would be something that relates to the real universes, what we call the real universes, where to most those don't exist or couldn't or cannot exist. So what do you relate to? Well, you can only hint at it. And given the best hints, then it's up to the person to take the step and into the unknown to recognize it themselves. So, Tim, it's a huge process, and there's not very many of us, but we're willing to take the risk, and others too. We're just sharing what we've found for ourselves here, and we're just sharing this so others have the opportunity too. Thanks for the show.
Yeah, thanks, Val. And